Oh man, my head is still just spinning. We get to cast QuakeWorld all day.
There is not there's not an absence of Quake here.
Yeah.
Or QuakeWorld. We're going to go into a pretty interesting match almost immediately because we get some familiar faces, not necessarily from QuakeWorld, although they are very old school gents. And
absolutely.
I don't think they are too prepared. I don't think they came in with months of preparation, planning to win this tournament, but they're here for some fun as they are every year.
Yeah, and 04 Chaotix, they play everything.
Yeah.
04 obviously has a lot of history, Chaotix as well. A lot of Quake Live action. We saw them yesterday, and we get to get 2 days of them out of the event.
I honestly have no idea what's going to happen with this one because, of course, we've got some other players here coming over from the Europe and Fefe and Rio. So that's going to be interesting to see how they're going to match up because it could actually end up being fairly close, between, with all the experience of 04 and Calyx. It's got to be worth something, right?
We're about to find out. But, of course, playing up against Rio and Fefe, I guess, right?
Fefe,
all right.
Yeah.
Apologies to Fefe if he doesn't prefer that pronunciation. But yeah, I've stuck in with Durkin as a pronunciation for this team,
Durkin.
if you were wondering. Yep. I don't think it's bad.
All right. Well, this is Blood Run time, so at least that's going to be familiar for 04 and Chaotix.
Except for some of the item placements, so we'll see if that throws them for a loop. But these guys are old hat. They should know exactly what they're doing. But we got Fefe here making first frag here, trying to make his way back onto the quad, but it's going to be a mutual frag suicide, so it's going to be Rio getting hold of that first quad, converting over down to LG. Of course, items aren't going to be up just for the moment, so he's going to be looking for a few free frags here in the hallway. And, of course, with everybody spawning down there in LG, it's going to be taking a little bit of damage, but, yeah, getting a few decent frags here. Not a bad quad run.
No, it's pretty good. It's a great way to establish some basic early control and an early lead as well. Because things might, the fragging might start to taper off a little bit. It may be that it's hard to get any more frags here from their perspective. But as long as it can carry some armor towards the next quad, it's gonna be great. And already we can see that Rio's kind of working his way back up to the red armor. It's gonna spawn right now. So there it is. All the kills coming in for Rio. This is really good work. And he picks up the red to boot. And he's got the quad coming up. So. Perfect.
Absolutely. So he's going to be well stacked here. Health is going to be a little bit light for both of them here. He's going to be looking for it there in the hallway, hoping that 04 is going to be spamming him on. 04 is really trying to push it in. Not quite going to get it, but here comes Quad. 04 is still alive, though, still part of this fight. And Chaotix is going to be the last man standing if he can get up on the quad pad. Oh, no. It's going to be a dead quad, though, but the party's not over here just yet, as 04 maybe was thinking that quad would be dropping. It isn't, just bodies. But we've got actually a tighter game initially in this first minute than I thought we would have.
Yeah, and you can see Chaotix definitely not too practiced on the movement. Not too fluid with that ramp jump. And it looks like it will get Rio and Pepe coming back in there, able to take over the yellow armor room. And I mean, obviously Rio's pretty weak here, but with 5 HP, apparently that's enough to get himself a quick kill. And red armor is up for the grabs as well, but that's immediately going to be eliminated by 04. And he's going to start taking control in the middle area of the map. He will go down eventually and go down the Chaotix as well.
I mean, it happens. I mean, things get kind of intense. You're just throwing rockets around and you don't care who you're hitting. So it's going to be red armor coming up here, and we've got Chaotix and 04 pseudo in control of the middle room. They're going to be both popping through the teleporter, though. Mega's actually up still as quad comes up, and so they've got their eyes certainly set on those items as Rio is going to be getting the grab, and so any kind of stack and getting away from the main areas of, spawning and dying, namely, would be handy. But Rio just going to be looking for a few frags here. Not really getting any spawns here in mid. Neither is Fefe feeding him at the moment.
Yeah, Rio's desperately looking to find some use out of this quad damage of his spamming around with the rockets. He will find Calyx now. Also, 04 is going to avail himself. The rockets are looking good here. A lot of frags made by Rio. Maybe something off the spawn. Well, it's going to be Fefe with the rocket to the face. Thanks very much, Rio. I love the team kills.
Yeah. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of that from American players.
The team that I played with in QuakeWorld for my time in QuakeWorld was called Team Killers.
Nice.
That was our team name.
Yeah, rack them up. All right, but we got Rio here looking for Chaotix at the rocket launcher, taking a little bit of damage. 04 is going to be down at LG, but escaping as Rio's is kind of stomping around, taking control here. Opening up some armor for Fefe, but Fefe is definitely a little bit more focused on the quad right now, or at least opening up the room for Rio to come in and get that grab. So Fefe is going to be kind of clearing the way here, maybe opening up some spawns here mid-map so that Rio can start to rack them up himself.
And he is racking them up there. Not killing Fefe this time, allowing Fefe to just go for the spawn kills towards the LG. Also stopping the pickup of the LG, an important weapon. although it is at the bottom of the map, so it's hard to control that spot. But for the time being, that will be done, and we're going to be able to capitalize upon seeing exactly where these scrambling players are. Going to those green armor areas around the quad room, trying to find a safe route, but there is no safe passage when Rio's rocking the quad.
I mean, just like in Quake Live, getting set up for the quad room is so important. So hopefully 0-4 and Chaotix can kind of pull some of that together without dying so much just before the quad comes up. Now, doing damage to try to take down whoever's on the quad is nice, but honestly, even if they're fully stacked up on Mega and Red, the number of rockets that are flying and grenades that are flying around in there kind of make that a moot point after a couple shots. But Fefe is going to be getting out of there alive and with yellow armor, back on the board once again to widen the score for the score amount. Yeah,
and right now it's starting to get a bit out of control, and you can see just how comfortable with the game Rio and Fefe are.
Yeah, they look very calm here and very controlled, and they're just like, all right, Sunday drive.
And that's the problem. I mean, if you aren't very well practiced with the pace of this game, it can really overwhelm you. And so you can see, once again, Fefe just controlling the upper areas, using the LG, using the rockets very effectively. Again, it really looks like a very experienced QuakeWorld play, showing his QuakeWorld skills off quite wonderfully here, having a lot of fun picking up the spawns. And I mean, that is one of the most fun things. It is just the best thing ever.
Almost orchestrated frags, absolutely. So Fefe staying pretty well in control here of the quad room, which can end up being a little bit of a thing even before significantly before the quad comes up. But as it stands, we've got quad coming up here. It might be opening the door for Rio to get it. Neither of them have a lot of armor, so everyone's going to be dying in there, but Rio's going to get the grab with YA out. Oh, green armor, I'm sorry. It's yellow. It's the old icons now, so yeah, it's yellowish.
It's some kind of color.
It's kind of stained green, yeah.
Oh, there we go. That's the yellow.
Yeah, that's definitely a little bit more proper yellow, yeah. So halfway through here, we're looking at 76-18. These guys are in a little bit of danger of crossing that 100 frag threshold. So Rio, once again, out on the board with quad, and again, with quad spawning every 60 seconds, it seems like there's almost always quad. At least available if it manages to get out of the room alive.
So it's looking like the guys from DRKN are having a pretty good time with this.
That's a little bit more obvious, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
And, well, I mean, I would have expected if there is a map that Helix and 0-4 can have a good chance on, it would be this or Airwolf.
Okay, yeah.
To be honest. Yeah. So I don't know what the next map's going to be, but I hope for their sake that it's going to be Airwolf.
Right, so we have a beautiful trap there on 0-4. Very happy to have a good quad on the map, but it didn't get very far. And it should be a good lesson, actually. Trying to defend quad by standing on the pad is never really encouraged. And be able to trap somebody as they're coming out can end up being a big deal. It might be easy to forget just how much damage you can do even to the quad player as they're coming around that corner.
So just business as usual here for Rio. He's a little bit weak actually in mids, but still picking up the frags. Again, you can see how on this map in particular, I mean, much like Airwolf, but you see it a bit more here because you have some more open spaces to really use the LG effectively. The hit scan with the LG becomes very powerful as you only need 3 cells to kill somebody who's freshly spawned. And well, if you have the quad, it just takes 1 cell, and you just insta-give them. And it is also wholly satisfying.
And there are some tournaments where you see LG maybe not used quite as much just because of the latency and the tracking. But here on LAN, yeah, we're going to see it in full force here. So Rio once again out with the quad. And yeah, just shutting down every place. And again, I got to hand it to Fefe here. He's making it so that Rio almost always has bodies to chew on right in front of him.
And you can also see that there is actually a weapon script being used by Rio, which is essentially a basic thing in QuakeWorld that everybody does. And you can do that. You can do that in the menus as well. Like all those scripts are already inbuilt. And the reason is because if you, again, are shooting your weapon and you die, or like if you keep your weapon out and just running around, right? You're not shooting it or using it, and you die, or in a situation where you die, you can basically drop the weapon in a pack. But as soon as you are finished firing, when the reload completes, you'll switch back to the boomstick or whatever it is, the axe for some players, and that means you can't drop the pack if you die immediately after you stop shooting. You don't have to switch away, it's automatically done for you. So that's kind of the pack dynamic. That's the reason why people do that, but...
yeah, and that just was a natural extension of being able to switch weapons instantly.
Yeah.
You know, we had that back again in CPM, but I don't think that practice was encouraged quite as much. Certainly didn't see it there, but yeah, it's a really unique thing about QuakeWorld where trying to keep weapons away, because weapons stay as on, but getting to the weapon ends up being the much more dangerous thing. Being able to farm weapons off of dead bodies is handy, so being able to defend against that is certainly worthwhile as well.
It's interesting too, because actually, because of the weapon stay, like you said, there's some players who actually leave off the weapon scripts so that they can drop packs and maybe pick that up later themselves, and it is something that might force their opponent out of position to pick it up.
Well, of course, in TDM, there's no way to just drop an item for a player. That I think things ended up being a little bit more civilized in later games. So the way for a teammate to give you a rocket launcher is for you to kill him.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, it's fun times, and that's better because he needs to conserve the rockets, so you don't need to like shoot rockets and suicide with rockets. Got to keep those rockets alive. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be a pretty convincing win here on the first map. An aerial walk here for DRKN, Fefe, and Rio, as I suppose should be expected. Chaotix and 04, definitely not. They're veterans, but not QuakeWorld veterans.
Right. Though I am wondering, just because of the pace of aerial walk, if as you presume, it will be a better map for 04 and Chaotix. We'll see. Maybe.
Yeah, you don't need to be, I mean, movement skill always is very helpful, but I feel like you can get more out of individual skill and the edges you can get from movement. It isn't as huge, but there are some basics you really need to know, even on aerial walk, to be able to play that map effectively. At least, hopefully they can at least, know how to use the teleporters, and there's that one jump just, where you turn out of one teleporter, like that movement, that little trick there. If they can do that, they'll be fine.
Absolutely. So grabs to Darkin. I think I still prefer Darkin myself. Rio and Fefe there taking first map against 04 and Chaotix as we move into the next one. And it'll be a bit of a surprise to me finding out what that'll be. I think Airwalk is a fair guess. We're about to find out.
We're about to find out. Yeah, I give me the Airwalk. If it's DM4, we can just. I honestly. Oh, okay, we got DM6.
Oh.
I was gonna say if it's DM4, I would. That's the worst thing ever for someone that doesn't play this game to land themselves versus a QuakeWorld player on that map. You're just.
Yeah,
done.
well, I mean, at least you're always in the action, and all you got to do is kill him. But here in DM6, it's quite a bit more complicated than that.
Yeah, you're right. It is very. This is pretty bad too.
Yeah. So this could be interesting. Yeah. So we're gonna be following Chaotix out of the gate here as Durkin takes away red armor and gets that initial frag. He really needed to do some damage there. He barely did more than 25, and so now Rio can come back in and get ready for this next red armor. Fefe is going to be pushing out a little bit. He might end up dying there though, as we have red coming up. Rio's going to be there, but he's going to be there by himself for the moment. So this is the opportunity for 04 and Chaotix to make something happen, but they couldn't quite put it together. And so we've got the next red armor taken away by Rio.
Yeah, really important push there. Initially from Chaotix and from 04. It's nice. I mean, I definitely feel like they know what they should be doing. They know how the game should work here on DM6. And again, you get some team play into the upper area there to try to go for the push. Rio's actually extended quite far. He's using a lot of health and armor right now. He's getting some frags from it. But if they're able to take him down, that's a big deal because he had both the LG and the rockets. Although that said, so does Fefe. And Fefe's just sitting on the red at the moment, waiting for these guys to come at him. But they're not healthy enough to do so.
Absolutely, and this is where it takes quite a bit of map knowledge, again, like in DM4. And map knowledge is definitely part of it, but you get quite far if you could just out-aim your opponents and maybe get an armor in and get some nice shots in, but this takes some real coordination. Otherwise, it turns into a bit of like a Steven Seagal film where you're like, all right, it's time to attack red armor. Teammate, where'd you go? All right, I'm dead, and now I died 3 more times because I spawned in the red armor room. So it really does require a lot of that coordination, which is made more difficult when somebody like Rio is willing to go out and kind of thwart any plans to set up that attack so that you see Fefe like, all right, cool, I'm just going to chill here, and if you want to come back in and grab away red armor, feel free to do that. But as they both come back in, I think we have a bit of an attack coming from at least 04. Not sure where Chaotix is right now. There he is, but he's not going to have much health or any armor. Yeah. Oh, I mean, taking Fefe down here, that was a decent amount of damage, but needed quite a bit more to break the castle open.
And there's some, I mean, we talked about the grenades as being like one way to try to set up the attack. But one thing is you don't want to give away too many rockets as well. Right. So you have to use all the grenades. We get another attack coming in, and Fefe is having to actually turn tail and run. He's very, very low, but his teammate Rio is doing some good work, and Fefe will find safe passage back in towards the red armor area, and he'll be able to pick that up swiftly as it's about to spawn.
Indeed. So Fefe, again, he can just allow himself to be the one defending the house, holding down the fort. Here comes 0-4 though, but yeah, I'm looking for more bodies here. Rio's coming back in. Well, I mean, you know, the room's clear now, I guess, but that means that Chaotix might be able to waltz in. But no, here comes Rio out of nowhere in order to take the room back over. 0-4 from across the map, trying to keep the pressure up, trying to keep the intensity up, knowing that as long as they have players moving and bodies falling, that there's an opportunity to get back in the room and at least maybe look at the red armor before it's taken away.
Yeah, it's starting to get out of hand. There's a lot of frags here being won by DRKN. Their defense has been very effective. 0-4 getting in there, though, but he needs to stay alive. He's got to win this fight against Rio. He'll be able to do it, actually, and he's going to have the red as a reward. Oh, okay, very, very... It's very good that he knew to shoot a shot there, because he didn't shoot that first rocket, because there's a spawn there. Right. He would have lost that red and died, and probably given away a rocket pack.
Yeah.
That would be it.
And like you mentioned earlier, there's so many situations where you just have to assume that after you frag somebody that they're going to be spawning right where you're shooting a rocket. So, I mean, the rockets fire fast enough that you're not really costing yourself anything by just throwing a rocket there. Spam, spam, spam.
Yeah, so and this is a cool situation now because 0-4 and Chaotix, they have this situation where we talked about it before. I mean, it depends on whether Rio and FIFA try to retake the red room. It looks like they're going to put some pressure on. Chaotix actually dying. 0-4's back there, though. And they're both going to go for the combined attack.
Oh, nicely done. Nicely done. That worked out. Fine. Yeah, that's good. However, that does mean that 0-4 ended up taking the red armor again. He was fairly still well stacked, so Chaotix really could have gotten that pickup instead. But yeah, 0-4 and Chaotix, now that they have the room to some extent, they need to be able to push out and find these fights.
And they're slowly working their way back in at the moment. And I do wonder, I mean, Rio and Fefe, they don't have to play super passively. And you can see they're going to go for the aggression here. Rio hiding behind the corner with the LG and showing you just how powerful the LG is if you find those optimal engagements. Damage is just ridiculous. The DPS is nuts on that gun. And that's unfortunate because unless they retake this now, their control of red was very short-lived.
Well, Chaotix is able to get some damage in at least, but it looks like Rio and Fefe are going to be able to come back in here. And with the spawn of that red armor, I think this is a little bit of a break for them. They need to kind of go back to the drawing board and figure something out. They've got Mega to take, which usually they can take quite safely. It costs these guys so much to push out to Mega and try to make a fight happen there. It's just not worthwhile. So they can at least get that maybe for free after this this next little bout of frags. But no, 0-4 is keeping the pressure up.
Absolutely, and those boomsticks, they don't do too much damage. If you connect every bullet, every pellet, it's going to be 24 damage. With a quad, that's, it's good, 96 damage if you connect a full shot, but there's no quad here. Right. It is just generally quite a weak weapon. You need those LGs and rockets, and 0-4 is bouncing Fefe for days there. The bounces continue popping all over the place as Fefe comes back in, but he's going to take it back, and neither team wants to give this room up easily.
I mean, we've been staying in this room for such a long time. There are other rooms on the map, I assure you. But no, this is where everything kind of comes together. That red armor is so strong here. The fact that there's no yellow in this map just really changes a heck of a lot of it.
So back to the red armor room.
We had a brief excursion out, a little bit of a tour showing us the rest of the map.
Smoke break.
Yep.
But it's back to work. This is the office of DM6.
Nice. But yeah, attacking from both the upper and lower pathways at least ensures that one rocket won't take you both out and you're not getting each other's way. And so it does end up being a bit of a preferred method of attack coming through there. You also have that way to come through the little health corridor with the rocket launcher under the stairs, but it's such a tight choke point that it's very difficult to make that happen. But again, anything can work out if you have the right timing.
Yeah, absolutely. And
aim.
Oh yeah, and because the guns are so powerful, you only need that split second where you get that crazy pop that's really surprising for your opponent, or that spot where their back is turned for just a moment, and you get the LG into them. Or the grenades as well. I mean, the grenades are basically, they have the same values as the rockets do, as far as damage is concerned. So you connect one of those, that's some big damage too. And looks like Rio's going to just push out again, find both Chaotix and 0-4. And that's unfortunate, because Chaotix had some stuff to work with there, but for no more.
I was wondering for a moment if DRKN was showing these guys a little bit, too much deference just by not really pushing out for the red armor room. They're being very conservative here. They're just playing this by the book. They're going, all right, if you guys want to attack, cool. If not, we've got the frags, we've got the red. And, we'll push out to the Mega a little bit, but not in such a way that they overcommit themselves. But at the moment, they both push out. So maybe they want to have a few front frags themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's time. It's time to have some fun. They've earned it. They've a hard day of work at the Red Armor Room.
Yeah.
It's time to get out there, outside, get some fresh air and get some frags. And we saw that actually as well from BPS and Locust previously too. They held it very, very in a very textbook manner. Then eventually they're just like, well, let's just go out there and do some work.
But in all reality, you know, if there were a bit more of a fight going on, pushing out to that cell hallway does end up being incredibly important. It's very difficult to actually prevent them from getting the lightning gun all the time, but keeping their ammo low can really slow them down.
Yeah, the ammo is a really big deal. Ammo management is huge in this game. And, well, 2 minutes left now to try to recover some kind of, well, pride, maybe. I think they did. I think they did pretty well in the first few minutes. But
absolutely.
But you can see it just got away from them against some, you know, guys who really play this game. This is their bread and butter.
I mean, it's drop, pick, so I can't imagine that, I guess Blood Run would have been Chaotix and 04's pick. I can't imagine they would have picked this.
No. No, that wouldn't make sense, I don't think. Maybe they thought it was campgrounds. maybe that was...
Yeah, we know campgrounds, yeah.
Then with Chaotix, we could make all kinds of fun jokes with campgrounds as well.
Yeah.
So...
Well, we got one of the Intel maps this year anyway. We need Intel-sponsored QuakeWorld maps. Intel Kenya?
That would be cool. That would be cool. We could make that happen pretty easily.
None of the players would be on board.
In this game.
Yeah. This Vertex is 2 units off. Not playing it.
You can actually, there's in DM2 actually, in the big room, there's a picture basically, and you can actually change that. You just rename something, some graphic, and just put it into the game folder in the correct place.
It's great for frag videos.
You can have any selfies there, or whatever you want. Your team logo. You can do whatever you want in this game. It's awesome how customizable it is. And the spectator features are pretty cool as well that some of the modders put in later on. They put radars in there and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Like control meters of how much area control certain teams have.
Because why not?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we'll try to be a little bit more classic today. But 30 seconds out from the end of this thing, and it looks like Rio and Fefe are quite warmed up. Actually, a very solid performance out of them here. Nothing against Chaotix and 04 at all. You know, these guys have obviously been doing this maybe a little bit longer. 04 certainly has some history, but these guys have... I don't think they play games other than QuakeWorld.
He's trying to get the axe. He's trying to axe him. That's not cool, man. That's not cool.
No humiliation award, though.
No.
But there we have it.
But yeah, expected result overall. I mean, Chaotix and 04, as you say, just having some fun. Having some fun with some QuakeWorld, because they're passionate about Quake, as are Fefe and Rio, who will move forwards in the tournament. And it's going to be very interesting to see how they do, because obviously there's a lot of names that we would expect to do very well, but there are some underdog-type teams, and I feel like they're one of them as well.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, they definitely have a lot to prove here. I think they got in a little bit of practice and coordination. It's got to be difficult, and I think we discussed this a bit yesterday, going from Quake Live all day to QuakeWorld all day. It's such a huge shift. But it looks like we've got